Hey folks, Kevin the Fit Chef here with another great episode of Fit Chef TV. Here to show you another great recipe to have you flexing on your next meal. Today I got something really great and special for y'all. I'm gonna show a little bit of a sweet tooth. That's right, we're gonna have some sweetness happening soon. I got some blueberry cobbler, I got some banana pudding, all these great things coming to you in just a moment, so stay tuned, okay? All right, so the first thing we're gonna make today, we're gonna make a blueberry cobbler. Except I'm gonna put it in these small little dishes right here. That way we can have personalized blueberry cobblers. So that way it's great to put a little scoop of ice cream on it, all right? So I got some really good fresh blueberries right here. I love me a good fresh blueberry. When I was younger, we used to always go to my grandparents' house over in Louisiana, and we go hunting for raspberries and blackberries and out in the wild, and we'd always bring them in, wash them off, throw some sugar in them, and just sit there and eat it just like that. So today, and of course blueberry obviously is one of my favorite things. So we're going to use the blueberries, we're going to add in a little bit of sugar. I'm going to use plain granulated white sugar. I'm going to add in some brown sugar. We're going to add in some cornstarch, a little bit of lemon juice, and here's where it gets a little tricky. So a lot of people make cobblers, right? I'm gonna add a little bit of ginger and a little bit of cinnamon to make this really stand out tremendously. So what I wanna do is I'm gonna get a bowl. You're gonna take about 3 pints, which is roughly about 4 cups of fresh blueberries. You're gonna put this guy into a mixing bowl, and then we're gonna take about a half a cup of white sugar, dump it in there. And then we're gonna take a half a cup of brown sugar, dump it in there. Then we're gonna take 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and put that in there. What that cornstarch is gonna do, it's gonna make that juice that comes out of the blueberries, it's gonna have it thicken up. That way you really have a nice hearty cobbler. That way it's not runny juice everywhere. It actually makes kind of a sauce when you're cooking it. Then I'm gonna put a half a teaspoon of ginger, and then I'm gonna put 1 whole teaspoon of cinnamon. And so we got that going in there. And of course, one of my favorite things to put with blueberries is gonna be lemon juice. Yes, you already have the sweet tart of the blueberry, but we're gonna add a little bit more acidity to it. That way it really coats that palate. That way you get the sugar and you get the sweetness, you get the saltiness, because we are gonna add a little bit of salt to it too. About a half a teaspoon of salt, but then you get that acid and that sour from these lemons, and it really makes it stand off. Now, this is a really big lemon, so I'm only using 1. Now normally what you're looking for is roughly about a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. And of course, if you cut it in half and you hold your hand, kind of like a bowl, and kind of barely have a little crack in your fingers, that way that lemon juice kind of slides through and you can catch those seeds. Now of course you can also use one of the little hand strainers or something like that, or any other kind of strainer to keep the seeds from falling in there. What I do not recommend, never ever ever use that lemon juice that's shaped like a lemon, but it's green, but it's not really lemon juice. Look at the ingredients on that. I promise you're not gonna like it. It has like 7 things in it. This has 1. Well, besides it being kind of a really big lemon, which kind of concerns me a little bit. But we're gonna put the lemon juice in there, toss it around. Of course, make sure there's no seeds in here, so we're gonna look for seeds, pull those guys out like this. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a wooden spoon, because wouldn't be Fit Chef TV without a wooden spoon, right? I'm gonna get it stirred up in here, get this stirred up, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna let this coat really nicely. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this sit for a second, because I want that sugar, that salt, all this, the ginger, the cinnamon, I want all those flavor to kind of start to marry a little bit. And what's gonna happen is it's gonna start to kind of make the blueberries kind of secrete the blueberry juice. So then it's gonna be nice and juicy here in just a second. So meanwhile, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work on the crust. So we're gonna use a handy dandy little food processor here. You're gonna put about 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Put that in there. And then you're gonna put a half a cup of brown sugar. You're gonna put a half a cup of white sugar. And then you're gonna put 1 tablespoon of baking powder. And then you're gonna put 3/4 cup of butter. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna pulse this up. That way you can make a real quick, there it is. These things are tricky, I swear. You gotta have it lined up just right. If it's not lined up, it's not gonna go in there. So get this good and mixed. And what you're looking for is you're gonna look for kind of a coarse grind. It's almost gonna feel and resemble kind of like wet sand. It's gonna be kind of crumbly. You can kind of push it together in your fingers. That way you can kind of make some solid pieces out of it. I'm gonna put this to the side. And then get this. This is coming together. Perfect. The next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna get a little bit of boiling water. I'm gonna put that boiling water and I'm gonna get that in here and mix this all into a bowl, okay? So I'm gonna take this dough, we're gonna pull it out, and we're gonna dump this into another bowl. See how it has nice big crumbles in there? Kind of looks like I said, if you can hold it and squeeze it and it makes a solid piece, that's gonna be a good crust right there. Meanwhile, I'm gonna get a little bit of boiling water together. I just so happen to have a little pot over here. And we're looking for about a half a cup. So you're looking for about a half a cup. It doesn't have to be perfectly measured, because what you're looking for is to kind of make the dough, the crust. Oh Jesus, this is the reason why I like gas stoves versus electric stoves. All right, perfect, here we go. Get that guy boiling up a little bit. And so now if you look at the blueberries right here, it's starting to kind of have a lot of liquid come out of it. And what I'm gonna do while I'm waiting on my water to boil up is I'm gonna put these guys, and I'm gonna scoop them out, and we're gonna put about a cup worth of blueberries in each one of these. So we're gonna take about a cup in this one, and so you're gonna divide this up into 4 portions. Now granted, I got one here that's a little bit bigger than the other 3. Well, that's because it's for 2 people, not just one. So I got that going in there. And this water did not take long at all to boil because it's only a half a cup. And so this half a cup of boiling water is gonna go straight into the cobbler crust mixture. And all I'm gonna do is just pour it across the top like that. I'm gonna leave a little bit still in there. That way I can kind of gauge it, see how much is in there, see if I need to add a little bit more or not. I'm gonna go across. Tell you what, I'm gonna go ahead and add the rest of this. There we are, just like that. Perfect. And you should start to see it kind of look nice, wet, kind of look like a little bit of a cobbler crust. And then from here, all I'm gonna do is take a few spoonfuls, put it across the top, just like so. There we go, go across each one. There we are. Here we go. And the last one right here. So these guys are gonna go in the oven, 350 for about 22 to 25 minutes. And then grab a little towel. And what I wanna do is I'm gonna add a little bit of sugar across the top, just for a little added color. That way, whenever this thing bakes up, you'll see a little bit of brownness, kind of like a creme brulee across the top of this. It's gonna be great. Grab a sheet tray. I'm gonna load this guy up. And we're gonna put it in the oven for a second. All right, 350 for about 22 to 25 minutes. And while that's going, in just a second, I'm gonna show you how to make my famous banana pudding. All right, we got our cobblers going in the oven. Now I gotta get ready for another dessert I wanna teach y'all. This is something that I'm making for later on, all right? So I'm gonna go ahead and make it now, because this is gonna take about 6 hours to really set in. This is gonna be banana pudding. Now, in the South, obviously, we have banana pudding everywhere. Everybody has their own recipe. There's so many different kinds of way you can make banana pudding. You can use the instant stuff and add in some sweetened condensed milk and whipped cream or Cool Whip, blah, blah, blah. That's the easy way. No, the way I do it is we're gonna make this 100% from scratch. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with a medium saucepan. We're gonna go ahead and put this guy on about a medium-high heat. You don't want it too hot. And we're gonna start off, we're gonna get 3 cups of whole milk. Now, you don't wanna use anything less than whole milk. You want that full flavor, but you don't wanna use like heavy cream or half and half for this one, because it's actually gonna be a little too much if you add in that half and half and that heavy cream. So we're going with whole milk. Then we're gonna add in 1.5 cups of white sugar, just good old white granulated sugar. And then we're gonna add in 1/4 cup of cornstarch. What you don't wanna do is we have butter, vanilla extract going in there also. Do not put that in there until the very end. You got to put that at the end. You put it in the beginning, you're going to separate, you're going to split your sauce and your pudding, you're going to have a mess on your hands. Everybody's going to be sad and upset with you because you ruined the banana pudding. Don't do that. So then we're going to add in a half a teaspoon of salt, and then we need to go with 4 egg yolks. We just want just the yolk. This is a pudding that we're making, so we want to make sure it's nice and creamy. So there goes 1. And again, you can crack an egg, 1 hand, and then put it right between your fingers and crack your fingers just a little bit to where it slides down in there, that egg white separates. My little girl, my 5-year-old daughter, she loves doing this, even though she gets it everywhere. She never can get a solid yolk out of it, but she loves having the egg yolks go through her fingers. So you're gonna put 4 egg yolks in there. If you want to, you can always save the egg whites. If you're old school, back in the day where they used to take egg whites, they turn meringue into the egg whites and they whip it up and they put it on top and then they bake the banana pudding. Personally, I like this way a little bit better. So I'm gonna wash this egg whites off. I got the salt in there, I got everything in there. This guy's gonna come to a boil. And so what you wanna do is you want a nice slow whisk in this. So if you whip it too much while it's getting thickened up, what's gonna happen is it's gonna cause for a lot of air to actually get into your pudding, and your pudding is gonna look kind of a weird texture, but it should be just fine. So I got this guy going, I'm gonna crank it up just a little bit more. And so really getting it nice, you'll start to see it turn to a more of a yellow hue, a little yellow color. That way you know that egg yolk is really kind of blended in there. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna check on these cobblers. Oh yeah, it's starting to bubble over the side. That's the reason why we put it on that sheet pan. That way we can catch it to where we don't have a mess in the bottom of the oven. Meanwhile, today, instead of using vanilla wafers like a lot of people use when it comes to making banana puddings, we're actually going to use these little chessmen cookies right here. My cousin Rachel Ford back in Mississippi, she brought this to the family function. I think it was a 4th of July party one time, and sure enough, she brought it, and it outshined mine at the time. Of course, this is probably about 10 years ago before I really learned how to make banana pudding, and since then, I've been doing it like this ever since. So I'm sharing a little secret with y'all. Of course, these little cookies, they got little houses on them. They got little flowers. So not only is it a delicious tasting cookie, it's really attractive. You can really put it onto a pattern. It's going to really stand out. So I promise you, the next potluck dinner, people are going to love it. So I'm going to let this cook down for a few minutes, get nice and thick. Once it gets nice and thick, I'm going to show you how to layer all this together, okay? All right, looks like this pudding is starting to get really nice and thick over here. I'm gonna kill the heat, turn it off, and then I'm gonna add in a half a cup of cold butter. Get in there, guys, come on. And then I'm gonna add in a teaspoon of vanilla. So we got the teaspoon of vanilla in there. I got the butter in there, and we're gonna whisk this until that butter really incorporates with everything and get that going. Oh yeah, there it is. So in the meanwhile, I'm gonna take a nice 8x8 dish here, and then I'm gonna take a little bit of this pudding and put down in the bottom, just a little bit, all right? What we're doing here is getting it to kind of spread around, so when we go to layer these cookies in here, there we are, perfect. And so the best way to layer these cookies is just go up and down, straight up, kind of fill in the gaps, whatever it is you need to do, perfect. There we are. Then I got 2 bananas. Now, if you're like my mom, she hates it when I put bananas in banana pudding, but today we're gonna put a little bit in there because you have to have bananas in bananas pudding, obviously, right? So, best way to do this, I find, get you a little paring knife or a fillet knife and just go through, hold it in your hand, and just go through. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you wanna layer them a certain way, that's perfectly fine. Personally, I just throw them in there. Because I mean, you're not cutting this like a cake, you're kind of scooping it out with a spoon, and it's not gonna take any time at all. Here we are. And go through, there it goes. Bananas everywhere, just bananas, bananas, bananas. This is bananas, absolutely, right? There we are. And then we're gonna take the rest of this, use a spoon, grab it. Oh, look at that. Nice, creamy, gorgeous, sexy banana pudding right here. There we are. Perfect. Spread it out smooth. There you are. Now, here's a little trick when it comes to banana pudding. Always tap it a few times. That way those air bubbles kind of come up to the top. That way you kind of have that banana, that pudding, all in there, well incorporated. I'm gonna add the last layer of cookies going across. Uh-oh, that one flipped over. Let me fix that guy. I'm gonna pull that guy out, all right? There we go, because we want it to look nice and pretty. So, layer these guys just like so. Now it looks like I got a little gap right here. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna grab 2 cookies, I'm gonna cut it in half, just like this. That way we get cookies in every bite. And there you have it, right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the refrigerator for just a second, which by the way, I did one of these earlier, so I'm gonna show you that finished product. And here you are. That's what it looks like right there. Nice, absolutely delicious. Now I know those cobblers are about ready. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these guys out. Oh boy, look at this. I got cobblers coming out all day long. Oh, that's nice and hot right there. There you are. Perfect. This is absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to dig into this right here. Well, y'all, I hope you enjoy this as much as I have, and I can't wait to hear what y'all say about this. I know you're gonna dive on in, you're gonna get a bite of this pretty soon, all right? If not, you can always wait till this winter when the cookbook comes out. That way you can check us out at Kevin the Fit Chef on Instagram and on Facebook, and just be on the lookout for us, guys. And thanks again for coming out.